Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Kimbo here, and it's fucking time for an epic Beyblade X. The X, X, a future that no one can predict or some shit. I don't fucking know, but we're doing it. So we got another epic theory video. Yeah, I know I'm like 3 days late. Yeah, finally can fucking do this video without just it takes a lot to do these theory videos, but we got an epic theory video. So if you guys don't want any spoilers, I'll give you guys 5 seconds to click away off the video. So if you don't want any spoilers about the show, then yeah, it's the time to click away off the video. But yeah, but now we're really gonna talk about this. So this theory is gonna be about one specific X, KUROSU, or KUROSU X. I guess the unorphaned children, or the orphan children, or child, or whatever I would call it, or it's gonna be around that with it. But whatever I'll go in the title, I'll go with it. But if you guys don't know how the season starts off, Zero, basically, like you got another tower rising up from the city. Of course, season 3, you got the other tower. So the True X Tower rising up. We get the introductions of Zero, KUROSU, with his 9 fucking children, declaring war over the True X City. So him sending out 3, 4, 5, and 8. Originally sending out 8 at first to go after the pros of the original X Tower, and then they losing, and then they originally getting their paybacks and wins over 3, 4, 5, and 8. And this is honestly where we see kind of the downfall of 3, 4, 5, and 8, because they're doing this to get the love and attention from Zero, their father, and it fucks me up every time, because just how he's treating the kids, and I hate them seeing dumb like this, and this is why I want them to have redemption. Alright, redemption in other series. But with this, they lost so many times to where the point that they're doing this to where the point they're trying to get the love and attention from Zero. They couldn't use their bays and stuff, so they had them ditch their bays and then use a Rochi cluster for this True X Tower War Night between X and Chrome. That battle. Them facing off against the True X Tower. So we seen them face off against Persona. So you talk about 3, 4, 5, and 8, because they're basically this is their last chance to prove to Zero. This is their last chance. So they had them go and face off against Persona. It was a close fight, but Persona, I think Bird managed to get the draw. Yeah, Bird drawed over 8, but I think the rest of them, they went down. But and then that's when Zoniac showed up, and then they whooped 3, 4, 5, and 8. They kicked their ass to the point that they're done. Zero kicked them to the curb and stuff. So they've been discarded and stuff. If you've seen the theories, it fucks me up every time. Because I hate seeing them like this. I love these kids. They have such a dope, amazing design, like I mentioned with other theories. But I hope they have a redemption arc. But now to where the point that we're at now, after this break, the whole battle between X and Chrome, after that battle, they took a break from the show. So I guess a week, I guess 2 weeks, if you will. So they took a 2-week break and stuff. And while in this 2-week break, they had one go out, and Zero had him face off against the remaining 99% of the players that won over the KUROSU clan kids. So 3, 4, 5, and 8, they had them go, and one facing them, and then one just wrecking them, completely just going after them and just taking them down, type shit like that. So one going and being the fucking menace, going after the pros of the original X Tower, kind of how 8 did at the start of it. And then you talk about the lead up to this True X Tower War with things. So with things about this, you have Persona, because Persona is also a part of the 99%. that Zero can't predict, because all the other bladers, they went down and stuff, and Zero still got to get through like what? You still got to get through like Persona. I would even say Zoniac and Pendragon, because they're still a part of this. Like you still got to get them going. Even like with battles like I mentioned before, like they're still a part of this and stuff, and yeah, they're still a part of this, but which as of right now they're going up the Truax Tower right now, so they're at the 20th floor trying to go up and face like these bladers, but they're the first blader that did. They send out the one, which we all thought that one was the strongest, but Zero did this as a test. You know what I mean? So he had originally like had 1 versus 9. They had them face off. 9 went down and stuff, which I think 9's probably done, because I guess like it's a thing of like they lose, they're done. So with this, because this is why I said like whoever loses, they're basically out of this. You know what I mean? So 9 lost her battle against 1. That makes 9 out of this. Then the battle that we recently saw in the latest episode that I watched between 1 and X, and I was nervous about that battle, man. I was fucking nervous because like they're hyping them up to be the strongest, the absolute strongest of the season. Which I mean, for granted, like I watched episode 126, but and at first I was like kind of like, what the fuck? You're gonna have them battle now? Because like they're the strongest. Like you're hyping up 1 as the strongest, so why the fuck was you sending him out in the next battling? But it makes sense, because like they won, then they cut the fucking stream off. Like X was literally about to unmask, but he cut the stream off. He cut the fucking stream off, and it made it to where it was an exclusive battle. But but they battled and stuff, and it was a given, because like they're strong, but like I can't see X losing. Like I just can't see X losing. I can't see 1, because if they're hyping up 1 as the strongest, he ain't gonna fucking lose right now. We haven't even seen their true power. We haven't even seen X go crazy yet. We're starting to see them go crazy, but not at the maximum power. You know what I mean? Like it hasn't gotten to the point yet, but it's starting, man. And you notice with the battle, even with X and Chrome, like even right there, and we've seen this throughout, like when he battled against Mizu and even Omega, how he had this aura around him. You know what I mean? And it's evolving each time we see him getting like this. We've seen it with like Chrome. We've seen him in the battle with Chrome and X. How he had the red ring around his eye. How he like see his smile and stuff and just going with it. And this is like how they even said it in the episode. How like like X and 1, they have a lot of similarities. Like X is all about the fun. Like I want my sushi. Like I want my sushi type of blader, just going in and just having fun about the battles, about winning and stuff. And then you got 1 being where like he's off the duties and orders, that Zero puts him through, getting done the orders and stuff, you know what I mean? But yeah, but still having like a lot of similarities with it, with their smiles and stuff, how they fucking do it, it's wild. But yeah. But the point about X and 1 facing off with this, the battle actually ended up being a draw, which I honestly kind of expected it. To be honest, like I'm like, no way that they're gonna have this man 1 either lose, because he hasn't even shown his power yet. I mean, like we're starting to see his power, but not as the fullest. And same thing for X. So like, how the hell are you gonna have them battle and X hasn't even lost yet? Like, oh my god, you've been setting the tone for that. But yeah, but it ended as a draw with that, and that's stopping. That's gonna put on a pause now for 1. But we still gotta see these other bladers go up the top. So we still got like what? We got 2 showing up in the preview. We got Kiwami showing up, which is gonna be fucking dope. I'm excited for that battle. That's gonna be fucking sick. you got like what? You got other players like 6 and 7 showing up. Which 6 owning like Brachio Whip, which that came out of nowhere. I was like, what? We're getting a new fucking Dino Bay? What? Like they had like Triceratops come out like what? Like literally I think like around like June. So the same time as like Brachio Whip release, which that's insane. You know. I'm getting another Dino Bay, but yeah. So getting Brachio Whip with 6. 7, I don't know. Like maybe he owns Ring Aether or some shit. Or Heaven's Ring. Heaven's Ring. That's definitely one of the KUROSU clan members owning. But, yeah. But, you know, we still gotta see them show up. And, yeah. And, like I said, they're gonna have to get their way. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard because they don't know nothing about their bays. But when it does get to the point, it's gonna be crazy. So I'm gonna put a pause on that from now on. We're gonna talk about what this video is. So EKUSU, the orphan kid. So EKUSU, and this is honestly where the point the leader up to the trying to go up to the top. The 99 floor is fucking 1 and a certain X part 2. So we gotta talk about this, the build up with it. So how things are going now in the show. We've seen X, you know, his story. X is a part of the KUROSU siblings. He's the 10th kid. He's the 10th kid raised by Zero. But Zero orphaned him. He orphaned X. He orphaned him. To where the point that he had him orphaned, never knew about him having siblings, orphaned him and given him the fucking Genro, you know. And Genro taking X, raising him, and then basically becoming his, like, you know. But there's a connection between this because a certain Bite or Bito that is also part of the underworld. That's also the underworld about Genro. You know, they're a part of the underworld. You know, they're in the same underworld. But yeah, but Genro and Bite don't like each other. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a matter of time before we see like Zero and Bite's interaction, because that has to happen. That's gonna be fucking nuts seeing them interact with each other. But yeah, yeah, with things, but. And even just how Bite kind of knows who X is, you know, because Genro and Bite, you know, they're from the underworld, but they feud with each other and stuff. But yeah, but Bite knows who X is because he sees him, and he was there when he was little, you know. So that was dope. But yeah. But the point where I'm getting at is when X was orphaned, there's a question that. Did Zero never saw the power in X? Did he just gave him up because he never saw the power in X? Because, like, I mean, this man is undefeated, y'all. He's undefeated, never lost a battle. And, yeah, he never lost a battle. He's undefeated, and, like, I mean, this is why I said, like, they're gonna have this ultimate build-up. But, yeah, but basically getting stronger under Genro. And, you know, him growing as a blader, getting the Cobalt Dransor, you know, awakening that motherfucker hoe, and then joining Pendragon, and then recruiting, and then the rest is history starting off season 1. So you get, you know, Common X, Bird, Multi, creating Persona, going up to the, you know, joining X City, and then climbing up the tower, and then the rest is history, if you know the show, you know, and then, you know, basically, like, what? I guess going through the 2nd season with the Silence Tower, then the rest is history and all that. You know, and then Persona claiming the champion of the Silence Tower. So basically, you know, one side being Pendragon, one side being Zoniac, but the top of the X, the whole X Tower, the champions of the whole X City is Persona. But with that being said, after their battle, this is where we get season 3. And this is honestly leading up to things now with things. So, my theory is, coming back to with 2, 6, and 7 now, them climbing up to the tower, they're gonna be facing off. So like what? How many bladers are left? So there's multi, common, and I think bird that are left in this. Yeah, like I said, I guess it's like some win type shit. If you lose, then you're just out. But yeah, but they're gonna have to face off against 2, 6, and 7. And my guess is that they're gonna have to win these battles to get to the top 4, and that's got me nervous because they're going blind. They don't even know what the fuck they're up against. They're playing blind because they don't know nothing about these bays and stuff. But they gotta just hang on and just, gotta get to the top, because if they lose, they're done. But yeah, but they're gonna have to eventually get through 2, 6, and 7, and then the one that is standing on the fucking top of this shit is 1. And that's where the point is gonna get crazy. Now, seeing the theories, the whole build-up between X and 1, I'm just gonna tell you right now. They faced off before it ended the draw. That's not fucking done. They're not even done with that shit. We gotta see X's power go rogue. We gotta see them going rogue. Big long story short, them battling at the end of this. And that's where shit's hitting the fan. And that got me fucked up because I'm nervous as hell. But yeah, and this is where the point, if X does go down this path, he faces off against 1. X beats 1. But we still gotta see battles. Like, I think before that they have this epic battle, they're gonna have to have Zoniac. They're gonna have Pendragon. Like, they're gonna have to have Omega and Chrome. Yes, they faced off before, but Omega let him play it off, so he won't let him get into the battle with Chrome. You know what I mean? But he still gotta face off against Omega and Chrome. When he beats Omega, that's gonna be insane. And honestly, just me being real, their top later is black. I see 1 beating Omega. Just me being real, I see him beating Omega. I can see him beating Chrome. But when he beats Chrome, that's where it's going to trigger X. And that's where the battle, I think that's what's going to happen, is X going to be at the stand on top of 1. Then them facing off, and X beats 1. And then that's where shit's going to hit crazy. That's when Zero is going to fucking pop off. Because he only truly sees him to 1. And then that's when he goes crazy, and then Zero gets fascinated about that shit because his power is starting to go rogue now to the max. Their power going to the max level of things to where the point they can't control it. Then Zero goes after X, kidnaps him, do some arrangements, some shit. And like I said, they had these arrangements when they were all kids. Like, Zero gave them some injection or some shit that made the kids like this. And it's not even X's fault. And I'm just being honest. It's not even his fault for real, but... yeah, but it makes it where the point he goes to the dark side. He goes to this dark aroma. Who's going to save him? No one's going to save him because he's undefeated. He hasn't even lost a single battle. I would probably say Chrome that only got him to that. But still, you know what I mean? Like, X hasn't even lost a battle. But it's going to where the point that no one's going to stop him. No one's going to fucking take him down. And his power going rogue, too. Like, no one's gonna stop him. And then there's that one character that he's been from the jump that started this whole season. The whole friendship with Bird, Robin, Kazami, like I mentioned before, the hero that can take down X, saving X from the darkness, and then stopping Zero, them working together to stop Zero, and taking the champions of the X City, But yeah, but that's basically the theory video. I'll try to summarize everything because I mentioned it with other theories, but if you've seen it, and I'm nervous. But yeah, you talk about Bird saving X City, yeah, saving X at the end of it, and possibly taking down Zero, or either them both working together, either X stops Zero on his own, or either Bird stops Zero. It's going to be either or. But yeah, like I mentioned with the Robin Kazami video as well. But yeah, y'all, but that's going to do it for this epic theory video. Yeah, this is probably going to be the last theory video I'll make. We're just going to have to see how things go. Yeah, probably for the next few episodes. But yeah, but I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, make sure to smash subscribe down below. Let me know how I did. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe for some epic content because I will be able to ring that bell. Archive shit notified whenever I upload a video. I'm scared, I'm nervous, and like I said, when episode 127 is up, I'll watch it. And yeah, but until next time, it's your boy, keep on sending y'all. See you. Thanks so much.